then Ronaldo! Balotelli, Aguero! It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent. Here's Messi. Away from 2, 3, 4. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
The Football Drop Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to an FDP speciale, as Will likes to say. I have, of course, got Will with me. How you doing?
Hi, yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. This is our second pod of the day, so I'm absolutely
Second pod of the day. I'm knackered. I'm done. We've had a game of football.
We have. At least I changed. You're sitting there in your sweaty football top as well. Which is
I didn't have time. I got in, had to go toilet, and then straight on the pod.
Lovely. Well, we won't keep our two guests waiting too long listening to how your bowel movements have been. I'm actually buzzing for this one. Mate, we know what that means. What more are you going to do? Actually, I don't want to know what you're doing in the toilet. Let's move swiftly on, because we've always looking to do a collab. And the podcast you've probably seen us sharing some of the stuff on our socials as well. It's something that, for me personally, I know very little about from the subject that they do the podcast on. I know Will is an avid runner, so I'm delighted to have Couch to Coach podcast. We've got Rob and Ben with us. Welcome, lads. How are you?
Hello, all good, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Cheers, Ben. Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been in the pipeline for quite a while.
It has.
We're trying to sort it out, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you.
I think this is coming up to a year nearly that we've had this in the pipeline.
Yeah, so we discussed it. I've been a member of AFC Crew. So before we started the podcast, I was talking to Will about how me and Ben met. It was through AFC Crew, and I think the first meeting we had ever was at a community day, and we discussed it then, and then it just never happened, and then I went on to the AFC Crew podcast, and then now we're on it, so finally managed to do it.
At least we stuck to our word. We said we will do it one day.
Yeah.
So we finally got it together.
That's better than most guests that we try to get on, isn't
it? Yeah, they're here, so it's a massive bonus straight away.
I'm going to admit I nearly wasn't here because this is far too late for me in the evening to be doing a podcast.
He's normally in bed at 9:15.
I felt like I'd made a promise, so I have to be on, which is good. But I'm looking forward to listening to a few episodes today, so yeah, really happy to be here.
Everyone's going to be like, I'm sure there's only 3 of them now. Ben will just be asleep. We've got it on video, though, so we catch it. Lads, give us a little bit of an intro for your podcast then, if you don't mind. What's it all about?
Do you want me to do it, Ben?
You do it every week when we get guests on. It works. Go on, go for
it. Okay. So the podcast is, as you said, Ben, it's about running. In general, we talk about all sorts of different things. So we do talk about football occasionally. We talk about family life. We talk about all sorts of things. But the general gist is about running. So I'll give you the premise of what it is. So in November 2022, I was running London Marathon, and I put on Facebook that I was running London Marathon for a charity, Parkinson's UK, which is a charity which is close to my heart because my granddad passed away from Parkinson's, and my now wife, her granddad passed away with Parkinson's as well. So I put on Facebook that I was running on a group, I can't remember the group, and Ben reached out to me and said that he wanted to give something back to somebody who was running for Parkinson's UK. And he was a coach at the time, could he do me a training program? Must admit, at first I thought, a little bit dodgy. I thought, is it a bit of a pyramid scheme? I've got to go and sell 15 other people scattered to other coaches.
I don't know why that was a natural reaction. I'm not having this.
So
Ben's name...
Rob, as you can tell, is from Staffordshire, Stoke. I'm from Birmingham, and I've been to Rob's neck of the woods a few times because we've gone into the same running circles, and they've nicknamed me the Dodgy Brummy Lad.
That is Ben's nickname on the podcast. So everybody that knows Ben from the podcast. So we're listening quite locally around where I live. So everybody that meets Ben knows him as the Dodgy Brummy Lad.
Last time I do something nice for anybody, I'm telling you.
Yes. So he contacted me and said to me he wants to do a training program, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I've never met him before. He sent me this training program. We had a couple of chats beforehand, and it was good. It was just chat over the phone. And we got on quite well, and we had a few laughs in the joke and a couple of times. And then I did the run and I did the training, and then I went and did London Marathon, finished London Marathon, got 4 hours 55, ecstatic. I wanted to get another 5 hours.
Amazing.
And I got it. So then I thought to myself, what can I do to give something back? Because training programs aren't cheap. For people that have coaches, you have to pay quite a lot of money. So I said to Ben, I know you're trying to raise your social media presence. Why don't we try doing a podcast? And I've got the message. I actually found the message out the other day, actually. I randomly messaged Ben saying, do you fancy doing a podcast? And Ben says, yeah, I've never done one before. But yeah, we can try it. And I'd never done one before. I hadn't got a clue. So we researched a little bit. And it was about a month after we spoke about it that we decided that we were going to go for it. And I remember the first podcast being absolutely nervous wreck. And the premise of the podcast is that I'm not a runner. So I'm like yourself, Ben, before. I never ran. So I used to see running as a punishment. So when I was a runner, when I used to play football, if we did something wrong in the match, or if we played rubbish, we'd go for a run. You'd run laps around the pitch, and it was always used as a punishment. So I never, ever liked running. So we defined it, I was the couch. So I was basically the couch that never did anything. And the podcast was a coaching call between me and Ben, as him as my coach, and we would talk about my running, and we'd talk about what I'd done and hints and tips. And basically, because other people sometimes can't afford to have a coach, or they don't want to have a coach, they get free hints and advice about coaching from Ben to me through the podcast. And it's built from there, really. We've been doing nearly 2 years now.
I mean, I'd have been up with 50 quid on a Mars bar, but now I've got him stuck to the equation.
And it's just grown. It has just grown, and it's been more of a community more than anything. It has become. It's like we're going to different races, and we've only met each other, me and Ben, in person probably 6 or 7 times, and he's been to my wedding and everything. So, I would say he's my closest friend because we literally speak every week, every Thursday, even if he doesn't want to. We speak every week.
Got no choice. I even made it into the wedding speech and everything.
You did, yeah. You got mentioned in the wedding speech. So that's
Amazing.
the premise of the podcast.
So what does a coach do then for running? What would a coach? What can you expect from that?
I mean, I think with a coach with running, coaching. It gets mistaken these days as like a face-to-face running coach, like the ability to stand there and observe somebody and correct their running form. That's a bit of a dying art. That's not something that really happens anymore. I mean, I used to do that when I was coaching, but for somebody like an adult to say, look, I'm running, but my left leg kicks out a little bit and I'm not quite happy with it, or it's causing me to get injuries and stuff like that, it's going to take you years and years and years and years of correcting that to get better. So a lot of coaching nowadays is online coaching. This is listened to largely by football fans, so I'm going to say it. There are a lot of fraudsters out there that basically will influence you on social media, say they're a running coach, and they'll take X, Y, and Z money off you to be a coach, and they won't do an awful lot. But then you do have to. I liken it a lot to like guiding a ship. Like the ship's always going to keep going.
Oh, well, I've never been defined as a ship before.
Funny enough, I described Ben as a ship the other week.
I know I'm big, but I've never been defined as a ship.
Turns like the Titanic robbed us. That's but yeah, it's about navigating and like so what I was doing with coaching, there's a piece of software which you can get onto online called Training Peaks, and I'd have my athletes. I had Rob's an athlete. I'd class him as an athlete. I had 20 athletes, which weekly I would sit down, plan their week's worth of training, and at the end of the week you'd go in, you'd analyse the data, things like heart rate, paces, all that sort of stuff, and you'd just be asking questions, getting feedback. You know, how did this session, this hard run feel out of a scale of 1 to 10? Analyse like his rest periods, what his body's basically coming out, and data that it takes from the watch onto the Training Peak software, and basically give him a kick up the arse if he's not running fast enough.
And that's what we discuss on the podcast. So yeah, that's what we would discuss on the podcast, and Ben would sit there going through my Training Peaks and my Strava, and I'd say how I felt. And that's, yeah, so he isn't a coach anymore, although he still coaches me technically. He's not a coach anymore. He works for a company, well, he's got a business called Mini Athletics, which
coaching
is
kids. They're easier to coach than Rob, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he only had me for 12 months and that was enough. He had to quit. Go with the kids.
You literally retired poor Ben from coaching.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it was enough. No, I mean, Rob, so an example would be like if you're training for a 5k or you want to train for a marathon or something, you might pick up your episode of Runner's World, or you might go online and Google like running coaching plans. They're not really that sort of tailored to the individual. They're literally what we call off-the-shelf plans. It's like run X, Y, and Z runs and keep doing them. But things crop up like injuries, work commitments, all that. So one of the big things as a coach to get used to was Rob's very unique schedule, in that he can run on a Monday, he plays or attempts to play football on a Tuesday. Wednesday you didn't run because you had the kids, and then I still remember his plan. Thursdays and Fridays did a bit of run, Saturdays part run, every other Sunday you could do a long run. These are things that your off-the-shelf plans won't give you. So it was changing things around as and when Rob needed them to. So that's what a coach does.
Fascinating. So you could tell me why my knees hurt after a 5k then?
Probably, if I stood and looked at it long enough. If you wanted a dodgy from me, lad, to stare at you doing a part.
Funnily enough, that is what I've always wanted.
Send me the postcode of the local park.
That sounds absolutely brilliant. Obviously, you guys obviously clicked straight away, which is always a bonus, especially if you're doing a pod, like online like we are now. I think that's the biggest kind of bonus, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
the story sounds a bit like ours.
No, ours was love at first sight.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Rob's 6.5 foot, so when I first saw him, I was quite attracted to him. Big fan.
I can remember the first time we met. So the first time we actually met, it was at a local park run down by me. It was called Trentham Gardens Park Run, and you came. I was supposed to come with my wife, that wasn't my wife at that time. We recently got married, and my son. And Ben was coming with his wife and his 2 kids. And I came up on my own, and I ran because I obviously saw Ben, and I walked over towards him, and I was like, he just looked me up and down, thinking, Jesus Christ, because it's the first time we've ever met, thinking, yeah, he's a monster.
And he just squeezed me, like it was really
Gave him a massive big bear hug.
We'd never actually met, but we'd seen each other like on video calls and had like weekly phone calls.
Yeah.
And I just walked up across this car park, and I remember giving him one of them handshakes, and he just pulled me in and squeezed me, and I fell for him at that point in time. Couldn't get away from it.
And
To be fair,
the dynamic works so well on the podcast, because I think the dynamic on the podcast is I'm the person that's not that knowledgeable about running. I'm getting better, and I suppose I'm the, all intents and purposes, the novice, and Ben is the coach person, and Ben is the more sarcastic one out of the two of us. I would say Ben is the more sarcastic one, and I'm probably the one that gets the brunt of all the jokes. I'm the person that can't shut up on the podcast, and I tell everybody everything about myself, about my powerful torso, about looking like Tyson Fury, about all sorts of different things. So I am the butt of most of the jokes on the podcast.
I mean, you can tell he doesn't shut up, lads. This is your podcast, and
Sorry, I'll be quiet now.
I say, women are, we're just going to sit back and chill. We're just,
You just crack on, yeah.
45
It saves
minutes.
us a job, doesn't it?
I just want to detract away from football for a sec, because from running, and talk about football for a sec.
yes.
Because I'm very disappointed in Rob for the team he supports, so I'm not even going to go there at the moment.
I thought it was a City shirt. I could just see like the stars, and I thought,
Yeah.
However,
like a City shirt.
credit where credit's due. I know, Rob, that you supported them before oil money.
Yeah, so I supported City. So the reason I support City is my stepdad. So really, before my stepdad came along, I watched football, played football, didn't really do a lot about football. But I can remember the first time I ever met my stepdad was he came walking up to me and he checked what t-shirt I was wearing, what colour it was, to make sure it wasn't red. He was a massive Man City fan. He had a season ticket, and that was when I was about 11. So that's 25 years ago, 10, 11 maybe. So I supported Man City ever since then. He used to take me to go and watch the games. I can remember watching Notts County. I can remember going and watch Man City versus Gillingham. I can remember him playing in this kit, for example, 1999. going and watching them. So I've been Man City for a long time. Before all the money came in, before all the 115 charges that we're supposed to be accused of. So I used to go with my stepdad quite a lot to like places.
Interesting way of putting that.
I was thinking that. I was like, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I'll pop a pin in that one.
I know it's coming to talk about that. So I have been a City, and I must admit, even if the 115 charges do come about, I wouldn't be bothered. I might get a ticket then, because I used to be able to get a ticket when I used to go play Watch Man City at Main Road. I could go down with my stepdad.
There's loads of empty seats left in that stadium.
Here we go.
There is 20, 25,000 that the empty had.
Yeah, try and telling that to the people like myself who can't get a ticket, mate. Honestly, it's mad. It was all them corporate that get the tickets. But yeah, so I'm a City fan. I have been for probably about 25 years, 26 years maybe. Yeah, I can remember the time when we wore this and we got promotion. I can remember my stepdad, who went to see the match. He went to Wembley to watch the match and came back, and I was ecstatic. So, yeah.
I think you're genuinely the first actual Man City fan I've ever met. Like, genuine Man City fan. It's baffling.
Yeah, I've been through thick and thin with them. Yeah, I can remember when we took over and Robinho was signed and everything. So.
Oh my God, the Robinho. God, I remember that when he thought he was signing for United, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he was linked with Chelsea and Man United and Man City. He went to City, and Mark Hughes was speaking to him, and he said that Man United was the best club he's ever played. He's going to ever good play for. So never mind. We'll forget about that one.
And what about yourself, Ben?
Villa fan. Rob's trying to talk about how he's had hardship over the years. Try being an Aston Villa fan, mate. Come on. I've got no sympathy for anybody. We've had a rough ride. Yeah, I'm an Aston Villa fan, a little bit like Rob. I was just not given a choice. It was Villa till I die, as they say, and it's like that's literally what it's been. And I've supported them in the bits of the Championship when we were down there and back into the Prem. Been to the 2 playoff finals, and now we're back where we belong. I'm happy about it. Absolutely love it.
In the Champions League?
In the Champions League. I mean, one of mine and Rob's best meetings was last season when Man City came to Villa Park. Rob said, I'm coming to the Villa game. The result was fantastic. We played absolutely brilliant. We beat Man City. But the highlight of the night was the fact that Rob drove from Stoke to pick me up, took me to Villa Park, dropped me home, and drove all the way back to Stoke. Absolutely night of my life that was.
Okay.
I think Rob's ended up muted here as well. I don't know what he's done. I think he just got so angry his microphone's like, no, just cut this.
I was swearing in the background. So the story was I went to pick him up because we were going to do a live episode. So we did a live episode on the way to watch Man City versus Villa of the podcast. So we were talking about running everything, and then cut to the Villa match. Went to watch the Villa match. And then we did a little bit of the podcast on the way home as well, because I was like, I'm not speaking. No, I'm not speaking. Because we lost against them. So I was that confident that we were going to win that I thought, I'll go Birmingham, I'll pick him up. And then I'll get loads of ribbon on the way there. But then when we win, I'll be happy as Larry. But yeah, it didn't come about. We lost.
I even squeezed 2 of my mates in the back of the car as well, so it wasn't Villa fan.
What a shithouse move.
I know. Tell me about it. So 3 Villa fans on 1 City fan.
And the City fans driving. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
You pulled the short straw there, big time.
I know.
Great.
It was.
Yeah, I feel for you. So, in terms of like transfer window, it's obviously just shut. We'll go Villa first. Seems to have a good window.
Yeah, very happy with it. I mean, it's one of them. I think we have lacked squad depth for quite a long time, which is a natural thing when you come back up from the Championship. We're at that point now where we're an established Premier League club into the Champions League, and we needed to go big because this is probably a little bit like Newcastle, could be our last chance for a while. And I think we've strengthened well. I'm very, very happy with Onana. Like, he's absolutely class. I was a massive Dougie Luiz fan, and when we lost Dougie Luiz, for whatever reason, I thought to myself, this could go wrong here because he was a big part of the squad.
Yeah,
but
I thought
Onana
so.
is the player he probably Dougie Luiz was, and more because of the height that he offers us in the middle, and as he's proven with like goal scoring already. So I'm really happy with that. I'd have liked to forward. Watkins is just what he is, and I think he's still knackered from the summer. But I think he'll come good again. But there's a lot of pressure on him. But then we've got John Duran stepping up as well, the Hammers reject. So
yeah, he looks absolutely quality so far. He looks electric.
Yeah, he's good. He's a bit of a hothead. I think John McGinn said last season, like he's a nightmare to play against, and even more of a nightmare to be a teammate of. He's just a bit of a live wire, but he's proven himself to be really good at the moment. So overall, I think a really good transfer window. Probably, I think a striker short of a good season, maybe. I think the fixtures that we're not going to be used to are going to catch us out this year, I think.
That's what we said when at the beginning of the season. I think Villa will struggle because of that.
League.
Yeah.
What about Ross Barkley?
Sorry, Will, you seem to be cutting out a little bit there, mate.
Oh, really? What's going on?
We're used to it, don't worry. We're used to this kind of thing on a podcast.
Technical glitches.
We've even had to record a whole episode after that. Let me tell you a story quickly before we talk about Man City's transfer window. We had an Olympian on. He came to talk to us, canoe slalomist, Olympian, came onto the podcast, recorded a whole podcast, hours worth. He was like that strict, he needed to go to bed at a certain time. Recorded it, didn't save. So we had to do the whole recording again the day after.
No way.
Yeah, literally. He was the only godsend was he was the son of one of my mates. So it was like, oh, don't worry, Rob, it's fine. Oh, thank God for that. If it was just a normal general Olympian, as they are, normal general Olympians, and he's gone back to the Olympics this year and won silver. He got fourth in the last 3 years ago, and then this year he's got silver. So yeah, we're going to get back on the podcast.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, a bit of a story about the podcast again.
Christ. Come on then, let's talk about City then. As quick as you possibly can, because no one wants to listen about City, obviously.
So I think we've had a decent window, to be fair. We've lost quite a few players. So Alvarez has gone to Atletico Madrid, which seems to have not worked at the moment. It seems to happen that when Man City players leave, they don't perform very well, or never has before. Whereas we've got Savinho, which is a decent signing. I like a Brazilian, not for myself, but for the team. So people like Alano, Edison, Joe, if you can remember Joe when he used to play for Man City,
God, yeah.
Rubinho. So we do like a Brazilian in the team, and I think he's going to perform really, really well. And I think he replaces what we missed with Mahrez. I think it's a good signing for him, and I think Gundogan coming back on the free as well. He hasn't really played much since he's been back, but I can just see him. Well, he slotted straight back into the team because he knows everybody there. So yeah, it's been a really good transfer window for us, and we've made more money than we've actually spent. So selling Liam Delap, which was to Ipswich. He scored at the weekend as well, which is nice to see. Goal. He was a great goal. I rate him. I think he's going to be a decent player. I've got him in my fantasy football team. I think he is going to be a decent player. He's just not really hit the ground running yet with any team that he went on loan to over the last couple of seasons. So hopefully he's found somewhere where he can get some goals for Ipswich. He reminds me, and he's not the same as Haaland, but he's the same build as Haaland. He's a big centre forward, your proper number 9 from years and years and years ago that you would expect to see. So I think he'll get some goals. So I'm sad to see him leave, but like I say, I'm happy with the transfer window. I would have liked another striker, I must admit, just in case Mr. Hat-trick Erling Haaland gets injured. But it's been a decent transfer window, I must admit. It all depends on injuries, I suppose. But anyway, Arsenal.
Point.
Let's talk about Arsenal.
Wow. Yeah.
What happened at the weekend with the draw?
It's the red card, wasn't it? What did you think of that? Like, as kind of neutrals, what was your thoughts on that?
It's a new rule that's coming, isn't it? It's a new rule that they're coming in. If he's standing by the ball and he kicked the ball away, and I remember listening to the podcast a couple of weeks ago where Ben was talking about Fabian Schär getting sent off. I actually watched it this time. But yeah, I think it was. I think in the rules of the game, it is a yellow card, but it was a very, very soft yellow card.
I feel fucking attacked.
Sorry, we're on your podcast.
Call out. I know, this is unreal.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for that.
You've literally made Will's week. No, Will's month. It's the 2nd of September and he's happy as fucking Larry.
So yeah, I think it was a soft one, but I think the referees just basically they've been told you've got to enforce it. If they're standing in front of the ball, they kick a ball away, it's a yellow card, and it's a soft one. But and that might come back to bite you in the bottom later on down the line. Them 2 points, I think, 2 points dropped for yourselves. Yeah. But as a Man City fan,
City champions already. Look,
no. As a Man City fan, it's a good thing that you've dropped points, because I think with Arteta and with the signings that you've made, I think you're going to be up there again. I was kind of glad when I saw that it was only a draw. I went for a draw on the Super 6 as well, so I was happy.
Oh, that kills me, Rob. Absolutely kills me. I mean, we spoke about this earlier, didn't we, on the other episode? But I think for me, it's harsh. I don't think you should give that. That should be a stop dicking about kind of situation. Don't do it again. I know it's the rules, and letter of the law is letter of the law. But every referee that seems to have come out on socials and Sky Sports or whatever it may be, have all said, "We don't give that. No, you just don't give that."
Especially as a second yellow. If it might have been the first yellow, maybe. If it hadn't been yellow carded before, you might have said, right, okay then, yellow card, don't do that again. It sets the rules, it sets a standard. But as a second yellow, I don't think it is a send-it off, I must admit. You've been very quiet. T'other Ben, what do you think? Aston Villa Ben?
I just like seeing that as a City fan and an Arsenal fan getting along for a change. in agreement.
It is mad. It's mad, isn't it?
I've got an Arsenal question for you. I need to come in with this before we get any further. We're talking a little bit about transfer window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Nketiah going to Crystal Palace, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you happy about that?
Yeah.
You are? Good. Because you're probably going to agree. So we have a friend. We do have other friends. And we had a bit of banter last season about him, and we don't talk to him anymore because he left the WhatsApp group we're in after this conversation that we had. Wow. He basically tried to tell me that, I don't know if he was just winding me up, that Eddie Nketiah is better than Ollie Watkins. I just want two Arsenal fans to just confirm that for me, that wasn't the case.
So I'll let Will answer, because Will has got some very strong feelings on Eddie Nketiah.
Oh, here we go.
So what I will say is he might have put the ball away against David Raya, the 2 goals against David Raya the other week that Watkins missed. But
Ben's been so nice. He's been so relaxed, so polite. And Will's just gone stab.
It's been lovely chatting to you, lads. I think.
But no, I don't think he's got the quality that Watkins has. There was a few times. What was it? Was it last season when he had that stint up front and he scored against United? And it was, wasn't it? And it just seemed to ricochet, and it would land at his feet, and he'd just kick it, and it would go in. It seemed to happen about 5 or 6 times, and everyone was raving about him, like he's right place, right time. He's got the ball in the back of the net, which is quite tough apparently. But yeah, I think a lot of it just seemed to be a stroke of luck, which might be harsh.
Yeah. No, this is the thing. I think with City, they've got Haaland. And then you look across like the big teams, let's call them. Arsenal, do you think they've always lacked that big centre forward, that proper centre forward? What's your feelings on that?
Yeah, I completely agree.
We've said, haven't we, that actually Arsenal not signing a proper number 9 probably means that we won't win the league this season.
I think Arteta, he likes the style of play where you play with a false 9. Like we played, as I say, Man City played a couple of seasons ago before Haaland came in. But the problem is, we were found out quite quickly, and I think that's what's happening with Arsenal. They're going to be found out, and I like Havertz. I don't think he's a 25, 30 goals a season kind of forward, Whereas somebody like Haaland or your Ollie Watkins or your Mo Salah, I know he's not a striker, but like a Mo Salah kind of figure, they are a 25, 30 goals a season. I think that's what you are lacking. Last year, where your goals came from was spread across the whole team. And that was exactly like City 2-3 seasons ago before Haaland came in. And it worked, but I think the team's found out, and I think that's what's repeated with Arsenal. I think that's what's going to potentially scuppy again.
I honestly completely agree. I think we need, even for me, someone like a Giroud coming back. Obviously not him himself, but that sort of ilk where you can hold the ball up and give Saka, Ødegaard, Martinelli that opportunity to run in. Yeah, they've all got pace
Giroud.
on it.
I think he's a brilliant player.
Yeah. He's so underrated, isn't he?
Yeah.
So underrated. And like for us, when we got rid of him, I totally understood it because it was a swap, basically, him for Aubameyang.
Yeah.
And for 18 months, 2 years, Aubameyang was unplayable.
Yeah.
Like, he was brilliant. But I completely agree. I think we do need that presence up front. Like Will and I was banging on, we should have signed Ivan Toney. 35, 40 million.
He would have been a great
He's got
signing.
a presence on the pitch. He can hold the ball up, but he can score.
That would have been you winning the league, I think. 100%. 100%.
I completely agree with you, Ben. And it's just so disappointing. I mean, Sterling, let's not even go there. It's a very Marmite situation.
I think
fans.
Sterling's a great player. He is a great player, but he's not a player where you would think he'll carry the team. He's at that age now where he should be dictating play because he's at 29. He should be the person that you look to as a role model, but you can't really look to him as a role model because he moves. He's been to the four biggest clubs in arguably the four biggest clubs in England.
3.
And he hasn't. Okay, I said arguably, but he hasn't had an impact on any team other than City, where he had about one season where he was impactful, and that's the problem. He isn't a reliable person that you can say, right, okay, stick him on and he'll get you goals or set your goals up. He isn't one of them players.
The only caveat to that though is that season where he was on fire for City. He was your assistant coach.
Yeah, Arteta, and I think they've got.
I get it.
Yeah, I think they've got a good relationship, and I think you're right, and I think he might get the best out of him. I think he just wanted out of Chelsea, I must admit, and I think anywhere he would have gone anywhere. I think even if Man United had come in, even though he's played for City and Liverpool, I think he'd have gone to Man United. He just wanted out of Chelsea, and who can blame him? I must admit.
No.
You look at Chelsea. Everybody's got to want to get out of Chelsea unless you're on an 18-year contract, as most of them are.
Just top 4 predictions then, guys.
Go on, Ben, I'll let you go first.
Do you want my honest answers or the ones that are going to wind Rob up?
We'll do the wind-up ones first. I think that could be more fun.
It's going to have to... The wind-up one will be Villa at the top, of course. Then it will be Arsenal. And then we'll go for Ipswich and throw Southampton in there as well. Honest top 4 prediction, it's one of them. I think it's going to be between City and Arsenal. As much as I hate to say that with everybody that's on this podcast right now, I think my heart says I would like Arsenal to win it. To be honest with you, because the banter I can give Rob. But I'm going to go City, Arsenal, Liverpool and Villa.
Okay.
That order.
Interesting.
That's just what I'm going with, yeah.
So I'm going to go City top, obviously. I am going to go Arsenal second. I think they will get points, and I think Liverpool, I don't think they'll get points. I think if they get a couple of injuries like they tend to most years, I think it'll scupper their chances of getting anywhere near the top. I think it'll be City, Arsenal, then Liverpool. And the 4th spot is a real toss-up between a few teams, I think. I know they haven't really played that well at the moment, but I think Tottenham might be up there. I think Newcastle probably this year, now they've not got Champions League football, I think they'll be back up there if they start performing. And I think Villa. I do think Villa have got a chance. I think out of the 3 though, I think Villa. I must admit, although it pains me to say it, I think Villa will get top 4 this year again. But the caveat to that is I think they'll go out of Champions League quite early.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as a Villa fan. I don't know actually. I think the draw's been quite favourable to the Villa. I watched that Champions League draw and thought to myself, I'm happy with that.
You've got big teams, and I think you've got bigger teams in there, but I don't think it's going to take that much to get through. I think the top 8 teams go through. I think it'll be a lot of different teams than you would expect. I think it'll be Villa. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, top 4, I don't know why, but I've got a sneaky feeling Brighton could be doing something this year. Genuinely think Brighton. I don't think quite top 4, but I think they'll be there around about it for a good period of time. Yeah. But I just think they look quite strong, quite organised.
They've started off incredibly, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they have started off really well. Just from a Villa perspective, quickly, before we move on to you boys, would you rather go a little bit further in the Champions League this season at the detriment to the league position? Because obviously Emery's a bit of a master in Europe, isn't he? I know not at Champions League level, but he plays European style of football, and I think it seems to work quite well. But obviously not being in the Champions League for a long old time, is that worth that?
I think, to be honest with you, I'm over the moon, like, with the draw. I'm over the moon with the fact that we're there. Like, to first season back in it, to have Bayern Munich at home, to be able to go and watch Villa against Bayern Munich, to go and watch Villa against Juventus, get a really big game against Celtic, and it's a season in the Champions League, and with the new format giving us the ability to play more games, I'm just in for the party, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be really good to see. The fact we're on the TV watching it, and I'll be able to go to the games, I'm over the moon. For me, we're not going to win the Champions League. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at Leicester when they were in it all those years back, they had a pretty deep run, and then we all saw what happened to them quite quickly after that season. So for me, I would think, let's go and enjoy the Champions League for what it is. If we get knocked out in the first round, so be it, but have a strong season and then qualify again for it next season by finishing 4th. That, to me, with a decent cup run, I'd be really happy with that as a season. Consolidating that Champions League place would be my main thing, really.
I think you can attract more players as well. If you consolidate that top 4 spots, you can attract players as well that will be looking and thinking, oh, actually, I might go to Villa. I'm not saying they're a small team, but I might go to Villa. Then somebody else like Newcastle. Then because they're in the Champions League.
Outraged at this, Rob. Look at that.
This podcast has just turned into Rob dissing it. The only person I haven't dissed yet is you, Will, and that's probably because I don't really know you that well. So just you wait. After 45 minutes,
I'm up for it.
But I genuinely think if you consolidate yourself in Champions League, I think you've got a better chance of getting top signings. And the one thing that surprised me was Diaby leaving. So what happened there? He went to Saudi Arabia. No, he went to Saudi Arabia, but he was performing for you. What happened with that?
That was very quiet as well, wasn't it? That was very harsh.
He wasn't really performing, to be fair. And
Leon Bailey's better.
Yeah, I mean, Diaby's just took the money, and he's just done what a lot of players do, and he's just took the money. I think we're better off without him. I can understand Dougie Luiz going, and I think we found a really good replacement in Onana. I mean, to be fair, like, I think Emery, one of his biggest strengths, and probably with the backroom staff, is picking up some good transfers and some good players. I don't think we necessarily need to rely on. I mean, none of those players, I think, have come to us thinking, oh, we're going there for the Champions League draw, because I think last season we could have got Onana if we had that money behind us. I think it would help, but I don't think it's a massive thing, really, the Champions League drawing. We're a big club. We are a big club. Stop laughing.
I'm not laughing. I didn't laugh, I just raised my eyebrows.
I think we all did, he could hear it.
I like Villa. I must one of the teams that I do like.
Stop trying to dig it back. Let them
No. We've got to do a podcast on Thursday, so I'm trying to redeem it back.
We'll speak off air, all right.
But I do like Villa. And that's why it is a team where I don't mind them getting a good result, other than against Man City, obviously.
Yeah, I think they're doing things right.
Yeah,
they are. A neutral perspective.
Yeah,
you've got a good team. You play good football.
What's your thoughts on Emery quickly? Because I know you want to move on.
From my side, great manager. He was never going to succeed at Arsenal.
Why is that?
And that's not anything. It's not it's not a dig at him or anything. But you can't follow somebody who's been at the club for 20 years and be a success. You always have that comparison.
Yeah.
Same as when Fergie left. Moyes was never going to work, but the person after had everything to work. Because you forget about the past a little bit more. So you still have the memories, of course, but you judge it on the next 2 years with an interim, basically, is the way I always saw it.
Yeah, fair comment.
I agree with that. I think the exception to the rule, though, at the moment, and I know it's only 3 games in, could be Arne Slot, who seems to have come in and replaced Klopp quite well.
He hasn't really done much to the team, though, has he?
No,
I think what he's tried to do is just try to keep the players that were there, and I think next year you'll see wholesale changes. I think he'll bring his style of play more into the team. He just wants to steady the ship a little bit and think to himself, right, I've got to follow Klopp. Let's just play with the players that I've got that are proven to be fantastic Premier League players. Mo Salah's, the Luis Diaz, who's just even better than he has ever been by the looks of him. Virgil van Dijk. The only person that worries me a little bit that doesn't look particularly happy is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He seems to be a bit disillusioned by it all, and you can see in his face that he's a bit like, what's going on here? But I think he was probably Jurgen Klopp's right-hand man, wasn't he? One of them. And I can't imagine Arne Slot is exactly the same as Jurgen Klopp with man management. He doesn't seem the type. I think Jurgen Klopp was arm around the person. It'll be okay. We'll get through this, or well playing. Or where Arne Slot seems a bit more removed from the players.
It's a big season from the minute. I think I saw earlier. Was it next season, 2025? The contracts are up of Salah, Trent, Van Dijk. Yeah. They're losing. Yeah.
Alisson as well, I think, isn't he?
So I think they've got quite a few of the big players, the spine coming out of that squad. But Match of the Day said last night they're reaping the rewards of Klopp being such a great coach, and I think that's where it's working because of the changes they haven't had to make. I think, when Ferguson left United, a lot of the players departed at that same time. Moyes came in, had to make changes, and the whole place is, it's rotten to the core, isn't it now, to be honest?
It was a pants team as well that Fergie left.
Yeah,
I think that was a team where he was like, "Look, I'm here for one more season. I need you all to just give me that last bit." Yeah, everyone was kind of pushing 30 plus. There had a couple of youngsters who were good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they were the quality United team that we were kind of familiar with for years and years, were they?
No. And I think it shows because I know there was rumblings that he was going to come back after Moyes, and he turned around and said no. I don't. I went out on a high. I'm not going to go back after them finishing however they minute. I can't remember where they finished after he left. But you can never go back to a team where you think, well, I'm going to bring my own style of play back in because it was all finished by the time he left.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to just appreciate the memories, hold on to it, and move on, don't you? Really?
Yeah, like we were when Pep goes. I think once Pep disappears, I think it's going to be a completely different team, and I think we will have a fall off, and I think it's only natural that we will.
We cannot wait.
It'll be all right. We'll be in League 2 by then anyway, so I won't worry.
But Man City versus AFC Crew. That's
exactly. That's what we're all about. Yeah. Arthur. So Ben knows my lad Arthur, and obviously both Bens know my lad Arthur. So he asked me the other day, if Man City ever play AFC Crew, who are you going to be cheering for? I was like, I can't decide. I'll have to decide that on the day, mate. So.
You'll be one of those half and half kind of guys.
Yeah, the scarf,
half and half shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Definitely.
We'll all be at the opposite stands away from you. So, guys, let's move on to obviously your podcast and everything about running. Because I've seen obviously your socials recently. You're training for High Rocks? Is that right?
Go on, Ben.
Rob and his big mouth.
I'm noticing a really similar dynamic with you two than it is with me and Will here.
Yeah, it feels very similar.
It comes naturally. I mean, that's one of the things we got was, the podcast is quite a natural back and forth. But look, Rob, we started the podcast off and we sort of quickly settled into our positions, and that is that Rob does everything. I turn up on a Thursday, we record, Rob edits, I design a social media post which I send to Rob posts it, and that's how it works.
So today Ben texts me saying he's looking forward to the podcast. I says, I'm looking forward to the podcast. I don't have to do any editing. And I thought to myself, that's no different for you, Ben. So why are you looking forward to the podcast?
Well, you know what it was? I started a business 18 months ago, and I quickly basically became swamped by the social media marketing of it, and then I got involved with the HQ of Mini Athletics doing the social media management for the UK and US, and then it just overtook. But Rob is very good. He's a very good friend, and he's basically taken on pretty much everything with the podcast. And to answer your question, he organises the guests. So he's very, very good at talking, as you can tell. And he pestered a lot of guests.
Don't pester anybody. I just ask them. Don't need to pester them. I just ask them. If they say no, I say okay.
We share an Instagram account, and I could go through that, and I could tell you the DMs of the people he slid into. I'm telling you right now, Mr. Motivator, maybe.
Yeah, so we're
what a guess that would be, lads! God,
we haven't told anybody that yet. So if you're listening to the podcast, or you're listening to the Couch to Coach podcast, forget you ever heard that, because that is a secret. Apparently, now it's not a secret. Maybe we're hoping in the new year.
Get people to listen to this episode.
Yeah, in the new year, I've been in contact with his PA, and she has said that he is interested in coming on. So maybe.
No,
but to answer your question about high,
exclusive.
It isn't. Yeah. Go on then, Ben.
You like
we'll get into that more offline, shall we, lads?
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to give too many of your secrets away.
Rob's very good at lining up guests. We've had some incredible guests on the show, and he organised the general manager of High Rocks UK. For anyone that doesn't know what High Rocks is,
yes.
It's a functional fitness event that takes place in big exhibition centres. So it takes place at the Excel and Birmingham NEC, and you basically do workstations broken up by 1 kilometre runs, and it's described as like the fitness race of the world. It's the thing that those gym goers
described as
go
hell,
to compete.
in other words.
As hell. I've done it a couple of times. So you can do doubles, and you can do mixed doubles, and you can do same-sex doubles, and you can do it as a solo. I've done the solo, and I couldn't walk for like 3 or 4 days after, because it's a lot of leg work, like you're doing squats and lunges and all sorts. And then I did it with my wife, and we went to the Hilton where we would park the car, and we fell asleep in the restaurant. We were shattered. we had burger and chips, sat on a sofa, didn't have to get back to pick the kids up, and we just fell asleep on the sofa because we were just out of it.
What a waste of a kid-free evening.
I know.
I didn't think that. I thought, what a waste of a burger. Not the kids, the burger.
Spoken.
Be asleep and at the missus' chips as well.
Rob speaking like a true athlete there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The ship that I am.
Nutrition's on point there for Rob. So no, the general
tell him who the general manager was.
Yeah, so the general manager is Eric Dyer, who is
Eddie Dyer, which is Eric Dyer's brother.
Yes.
Eric Dyer's brother.
Do you know what? I remember seeing this. I think I listened to about half the episode at the time. And I was like, I need to go back to it because I saw it was all posted. I never got back to it, so I'm going to add that to my list right now.
I asked the question because we didn't know it was his brother. We just before the podcast started, before he came on, we were like, that's an unusual name. It must be some kind of relation. And I, the kind of guy that I am, I'll just ask the question. So the first question was, "Are you ready? Thanks for coming on the podcast. First, before we start anything, can I just ask you one question? Any relation to Eric Dyer?" And I was expecting him to turn around and say, "Yeah, he's a distant relative or something." But no. It's his brother. I was like, oh, what? It completely threw me. I was like, oh, okay. We're not a football podcast, so we can't really talk about that. We'll have to move on to the running. But I was like, I really want to talk to you about Eric Dyer.
Rob was speechless for once.
Yeah, I was.
And his second question, as brazen as Rob was, is can we have tickets? So he threw us 2 tickets to the mixed doubles in Birmingham in October, and now I've got to do a High Rocks doubles again with Rob. But it's given us some good content for the podcast because Rob now has gym friends.
Gym friends.
He's in his gym. What's it called? Cave fitness with
Cave
his top
training,
off?
yeah. Cave training. I'm not
Fist
with my top.
bumping.
I aren't the person that takes the top off. Don't worry about that. Yeah, so it's cave training fitness in Fenton, and we do things like cave sessions and high rock sessions, and they are hard. I am looking forward to high rocks in October, but I can tell how hard it's going to be. So yeah, we're both in training for that, and we're also doing other races and things. We've got things like Potter's Half, which is a half marathon, which is local to me, which is coming up soon, which we're both doing. But high rocks is the main thing that we're training for currently.
Wow, well done, lads. Well done. And I've seen there's what's this oxygen chamber training thing all about then, guys?
So
because it looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
Again,
so
just Rob in his mouth, he can talk.
So pretty much.
There's a theme, isn't there?
I think I've got the name of this episode: Rob and his mouth.
Yeah. So I don't just book. Well, it is a guest. I suppose I don't just book guests, but I reach out to companies. I just see things on Instagram. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I'll speak to them and see what it's about, and do they fancy collaborating with us and maybe give us a discount code, or maybe come on the podcast and talk to us about it, because I'm open for anything. And the joys of our podcast is it's not just because a lot of the running podcasts out there, I'm not mentioning any names, but a lot of the podcasts out there, they are very much elitist, so they just focus on the fast people that want to get faster, whereas we are very much the everyday runners. So we go from people that are elite, don't get me wrong, that are very, very fast. We've got friends that are very, very fast, and people will listen to the show, but also people that are interested in starting running. So I just contact these companies and just say, we're interested, and have a conversation. And I spoke to this guy from Twickenham called Russell Way, and he owns a company where it's not just oxygen, but he does things like red light therapy and stuff. Not the red light therapy you get in Amsterdam, it's a different therapy.
You piqued my interest then.
Yeah. When he mentioned it to me, I was like, what are you about? So he told me. But yeah, so I'll show you. So that is my oxygen chamber. It's a massive big unit. It's like a tent really that you can sit in, lying. I've got a lying down one. Ben's got a sitting up one. And you sit in it and lie in it. You zip yourself up, and it compresses, and then you have a mask on. It's 100% oxygen, and it's supposed to be really good for recovery. So athletes use it. So it's readily used in like the world of rugby. So the guy that owns the company, he's got contacts in rugby, but also does it for Newcastle United, the football club, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Oh, wow. They've got one, I think. So he's given these 2 oxygen chambers to trial for 2 months before and after, leading up to high rocks. And then he's going to come on the podcast, and we're going to talk about the benefits that we found. And we've had it since Friday. I've used it 3 times. I think Ben's been in it most days.
And how many days have you been running?
I've been out today. I did 6 miles this evening with the running club. Wow. But I haven't been in the oxygen therapy thing yet. But I will be starting to use it a bit more. It's nice because you're just sitting there, and the feeling isn't nice at first because your ears start feeling funny. Like you've been in an aeroplane, your ears start filling up with air. But then you just chill out for an hour. I've got a book in there, I've got a magazine in there. Just sit there reading the book. Nice. So it's good. And it's supposed to help because it oxygenates your blood, for all intents and purposes. So historically, it was used in healthcare, actually. I can remember people talking about it. So for things like wounds that wouldn't heal, so things like pressure wounds or burns, for example, they would use it because it compresses and it floods your blood with oxygen richness, and it just pumps it around. So it increases the oxygen in your blood by 1,000% apparently. So it's supposed to be really good for recovery. Because if you think about it, when you're training, when you're exercising, hang on a minute, don't interrupt. When you're training, when you're exercising, all you're doing really, and this is me learning from Ben, is you're ripping your muscles apart. So what's happening is when you're recovering, is your muscles are knitting back together again. So if you've got oxygen in your blood into the muscles, it makes it a bit better.
Christ, I hope there's no one scientific listening to this with the oxygen richness and knitting. Scientific terms
hey,
coming out here.
I'm a nurse. I could talk about these kind of things.
He's just dumbing it down for us. He's seen our faces and he went, I need to dumb it down for these two.
If you end up in hospital in the Staffordshire area and he trots into the ward to take your bloods, run a fucking mile.
So we've got it for 2 months to trial it anyway. So we'll see. We will feedback and we'll let you know. And like I say, we're training for a couple of things. So hopefully it does help with that. Hopefully.
Yeah, doing a
That
Jamie
sounds
Vardy.
absolutely brilliant.
Vardy's using it. If it's good enough for Jamie Vardy, it's good enough for me. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we have Red Bull before a football game.
Yeah.
we literally did tonight as well.
Yeah.
We literally did. So, yeah, Ben, don't judge us on that one. We'll just forget you heard that, please.
I love a Red Bull, mate. I'm never going to judge anyone for drinking Red Bull. Yeah.
We did go sugar-free, if it makes it a bit better.
Oh, no, so my wife's family live in Cambridge, and just as we get onto the motorway there, there's a BP garage. I have to stop every single time and get myself a can of Monster. Like, nothing wrong with that. Just driving down the motorway with my can of Monster. Yeah. Whatever time of day, don't worry. I'm not judging. It's all good.
Amazing. So in terms of kind of the running side, so I mean, obviously myself, I'd hate running, similar to what Rob was before. Like running was always.
Can I just interrupt? So before, I'm really sorry,
I know what
but
you're going to say as well.
Always come to life here.
Before we,
there's an opportunity for Will to dig me out. So all of a sudden he snaps into it. Here we go.
Yeah, I've got to say. So basically, before we came onto the podcast, we had a little phone call on our drive home from football tonight, and Ben said that if you guys want to set him a challenge, he will be happy for you to set him a challenge and he will give it his best shot.
So we on the podcast we used to have a couch to coach challenge, and Ben would set me a challenge and I would set him a challenge. So for example, my challenge to him was to grow a moustache.
Don't try and bring me into this. This is just for Ben.
And he would set me to do hill reps and things like that. So I would get the activity to do, whereas I said to him his challenge was to start playing Candy Crush or to watch The Walking Dead. So then with the challenges I would set to him, he would set me challenges like you've got to run a mile in a certain amount of time, you've got to run up and down a hill about 10, 15 million times. So I'll let Ben set the challenge if he's got a challenge in mind.
I say, Rob, can I just say, I'd rather you challenge me. They sound like ones I could get.
Because that is exactly what I still am like, to be fair. So Candy Crush, Walking Dead. So that's what I thought. Well, I'll set him a challenge because he's the ultra fitness guy and I'm the couch potato. So go on, Ben. Have you got a challenge in mind?
Ben, where do you live?
In Ramsgate in Kent. I'm on the coast.
He's
going to say run to Birmingham.
Yeah.
Come to my house. You've got to run to my house.
No, you put me on the spot here. You got absolutely no background in running at all?
Not really, no. I mean, when I was at school, we did some like cross country. I played rugby for like 5 years. I was fit back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I discovered that I could pass my test and I could buy pizzas on my own. And it was downhill very quickly after that, Ben. I'm not going to lie to you. We did a couple of runs a couple of years ago, didn't we, Will?
We did. I had to run
4
backwards.
5 o'clock. Yeah, I was slow, but we did some. I think
No, we
got
did.
I got to 3K, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
But now I probably do a K and a half max, and I'm dead, like breathing out of my arse, dead.
So it needs to be a slow build-up. It can't just be straight into something big.
Yeah, if you go, just do a 10K, I'll just, I'm
On the sand.
I was thinking that I'm doing a 10K at the weekend. If you fancy come and do a 10K with me at the weekend, I've got a race if you want to come and do that with
Rob,
me.
I'd be tired driving that 10K.
I think it should. Go on, Ben.
I got one.
Go on, then.
I got one. You play football, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in goal though.
Don't give me that. That doesn't matter. Brad Friedel played until what was he 39, the fittest man on the planet. Brad Friedel was. Worry about being in goal. Do you play? Will, do you play football? Are you in the same team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. I challenge you. Next time you all meet as a team, Ben, all your teammates spurring you on the bleep test, and then report back to us what level you get to. But I think what you could do is you could do it next time you go training, and then do a little bit of training, and then maybe do it in like 6 weeks' time and see if you can beat it.
I did the bleep test, so Ben,
okay.
that was a challenge that Ben set me. So you basically measure out a certain distance. I put a stone down one side, another stone down the other side, and you run between. Have you ever done the bleep test? I presume you have. Most people have.
I've never actually done it. No, I've seen it. I've never actually done it.
So you start and you run to the opposite end to wherever it is. So you say, I can't remember how many meters it is. You've got to get to the other end before the bleep goes. You can download applications that does the bleep test for you, that does the beeps, and then you've got to keep running up and down, and you get a certain level. Mine was going to be easy. Mine was just go to a park run and run as much as you can, then walk as much as you can, then run as much as you can.
Nah,
He can't go to parkrun because I've invited him to parkrun for. I honestly, every time I do parkrun, I'm like, right, yeah, come along, you can do it. Nah, sorry, my car's got its MOT. He doesn't change his excuse.
Okay, so that you've got a choice there. So the couch challenge is to go to a park run with Will, and to do as much as you can running and as much as you can walking, or you can do the coach challenge, which is Ben's, which is a bleep test. It's up to you to decide which one you want to do.
I say you do them both, or you're going to get ribbed by everyone at football.
What you've got to think about, Ben, is the bleep test, right? With Will filming it, makes a quality piece of social media content.
It does.
You can tag us in it, and we'll share it as well.
Yeah,
Tap into our, many followers.
Yeah.
Go on. I'll do the bleep test.
There we go.
On, I'll give that a go. There we go.
Let us know when you do.
We need to get some time because I've got a little and literally on the way in 3 weeks. So I need to get it done before then, and I can train between those times. Thank you.
We'll do it tomorrow, Ben.
No chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
My car's going for an MOT tomorrow. So gutted.
Report back. Let us know how you get on. Record it, and then, like you say, we'll share it, and we'll do all the malarkey behind the scenes with it.
Yeah, you're on. There you go. Virtual deal. Handshake. There you go.
Done.
So now we've set you a challenge. Have you got a challenge for us?
Yeah, stop supporting Man City.
Can't do that, I'm afraid. I'd rather do a bleep test.
Keepy uppy challenge.
Okay.
I think that could
See
be
who can do the most. Yeah, it's a good chat.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. So I'll record. Somebody record me, and then Ben can get recorded as well.
Yeah. What did you get before, Will, when we did it? I think you got 12.
No, I don't even think it was that much. I watched you do it. You did about 3 because you can't really kick a ball. And I went all like, big man, like, yeah, I could do loads. And I think I got about 5.
But I think the warm-up you did better, didn't you? Before we actually recorded.
Yeah, the recording, I just crumbled. I got all like camera shy.
So historically, I was a goalkeeper. So I aren't that good with my feet, I must admit. Although now I don't play in goal. So, go on, what were you saying, Ben?
Being a goalkeeper is always the excuse for not being able to do keepy uppies, isn't it?
I know, mine genuinely, I just can't kick a ball. I'm shocking. This is, I think, because I've always played rugby, I think for me, it made sense to go in goal. I was like, well, I use my hands. It makes sense. If I need to kick it, I just hoof it up the pitch, if ever.
I'm 6'6".
I needed to do.
6'6". So that's the reason why I went in goal. I've got massive hands as well, so that's the reason why they put me in goal.
I'll end up in goal because I was too unfit to run around, and we needed a goalie that game.
Same with me, to be fair.
I did all right, and I'd literally 2.5 years later, I'm still in goal. So.
Once you've done the bleep test, there'll be no stopping him. It'll be up top.
Yeah.
It'll be up top. Put it in the
You'll be coming on our podcast as a guest when you're running marathons and ultra marathons.
There we go.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't know if we're doing that to you 75 years old boys, but yeah, we'll see.
I think you had a game for us though, didn't you?
Yes, I have got a game. So I was thinking, how can we relate running and football? So on our podcast, we always do like features. So we've got 5 with a listener, where we get a listener come onto the podcast and talk to us about their running. We do shout out of the week, and we always have a jingle. So this is the jingle for this game. Is it a gunner or is it a runner? So I've got, is it a gunner or is it a runner? So I've got names of...
edit that bit out, can't you?
Yeah, you can edit that bit out. If you
No chance. We're keeping that in.
That's going to be a clip on social media every day.
So I've got 12 names of people, male and female. You've got to guess whether Ben knows the answers to these because I've sent him already, so he can't play. Whether they are a gunner, so a player that used to play for Arsenal, or a runner. So they might be obscure. They might be obscure Arsenal players, but let's test your knowledge. You can confer if you want to. That's not a problem. You're with each other.
Okay.
So it's not against each other. It's just a bit of fun. So the first one is Quincy Jamie Osuru Abeyi. Is he a gunner or is he a runner?
I recognise Quincy Owusu-Abeyi as a gunner. I'm
So you're going for a gunner?
I'm saying gunner.
He is a gunner. From 2003 to 2006, he got 5 appearances. He's doing well. So next one.
With the list and each name has a little stat next to it. How cute!
He's got stats.
I'm loving the prep.
He's got
It's
stats.
amazing.
This is more prep
this.
than me and Will have done. More prep than Will and I have done since we started FDP like 2.5 years ago now. It's ridiculous.
So I always prep. Ben knows this. So with any, like, if we have a guest on, I always listen to the book or read the book before they come on so we can talk about it. So I am a prepper. So next one. Rami Shaban. Is he a gunner or is he a runner?
He was Arsenal's goalkeeper.
Rami Shaban.
He was Arsenal's goalkeeper, yeah.
He was Arsenal's goalkeeper from 2002 to 2004 with 3 appearances. Apparently, they said that he was going to take over from David Seaman, but never got to the point of where he did.
No, never.
Are you feeling the pressure of this game show yet?
Number three. Calvin Kipton. Is he a gunner?
Runner.
Or is he a runner? He is a runner. The official marathon record holder with 2 hours and 35 seconds.
Yeah, I knew I recognised that name.
Yeah. He passed away, unfortunately, a couple of months ago, didn't he? It was a shame.
Wow.
Yeah. He ran, got the record, and then a couple of months later he passed away. And he was named as one of the people that was going to break, because nobody's ever officially broken the 2-hour record. But he was close to getting it. They were going to say that he was going to do it. Next one. So this is a female. Victoria Pelova. Is she a gunner or is she a runner?
I know this name as well.
Victoria
I've heard this name
Pelova.
Recently, I'm sure.
I don't recognise the name, so I would be inclined to go for runner.
Yeah.
You think she's a runner?
I'm going to go runner.
She's a gunner. She's a Dutch midfielder.
No.
2003 with 2023. She's recently signed for you with 34 appearances. Ooh. Dutch midfielder.
That's embarrassing.
I know that. That is, yeah.
Number 5, Catherine Switzer. Catherine Switzer. Is she a gunner or is she a runner?
Oh, I don't recognise the name again, but that didn't go well last time.
I'm annoyed because I recognised Victoria Pelova's name.
Catherine Switzer.
I'm going to go runner again on this one.
Okay, you going runner? You okay with that, Will? We going runner?
Yeah.
She is a runner. From back in the day, the first ever woman to run the Boston Marathon, and she got absolutely lambasted by it. She got so much abuse from the person who was organising it because she signed up, didn't give a name because it was just men that ran it, didn't give a name, and she ran it as the first ever woman. So she is a runner. This one, I like this one.
I read about that actually a little while ago.
Why did you bring this?
You don't do this on our podcast. What are you doing?
Hello. So this is a female. Fanny Blankers-Cohen. Fanny Blankers-Cohen. Is she a runner or is she a gunner?
I'm going to say runner.
Okay. Happy with that, Will?
Yeah, okay, let's go with that.
Yeah, she is a runner. So she is nicknamed the Flying Housewife, apparently, and she was one of the first ever people to run in the marathons as well. So, next one. Stefan, this is the male. Stefan Malz. Is he a runner or is he a gunner? Stefan Malz.
I'm leaning towards gunner.
Don't recognise as a gunner.
You're cool, this one, Will. You're cool.
Let's go runner.
He's a gunner. He's a German midfielder from 1999 to 2001 with 5 appearances.
This is my era and I've got it wrong. Gutted.
So, next one.
I had a feeling that was a gunner. I had a feeling.
Are you ready for the next one? Christopher Ray. Spelled W-R-E-H.
Yeah,
Striker. Christopher Ray, Arsenal striker.
Yeah,
he is
definitely gunner.
1997 to 2000 with 28 appearances. Was that when?
Do you know what? I reached out to him about a year ago to come on the pod.
Did you?
Yeah. He left me on red.
Oh,
He's still coming back to us. He's still undecided.
Just let Rob on him, he'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm already on it. I'm already on it. So next one, Rachel Yankee, OBE.
Yeah, Gunner.
Yeah. She is a gunner. She's probably one of the best known Arsenal female players. She had 2 spells from 1996 to 2000, then 2005 to 2016. She was a winger / forward. Jeff Galloway. Is he a gunner or is he a runner?
Probably a runner.
Yeah, I was thinking.
He
sounds like a runner, doesn't he?
Gotta be a runner.
Doesn't sound like a footballer, does he?
He is a runner. He was on our podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, is
so
he?
He's a runner. He's an American Olympian from 1972, and he's got loads of books out. He does the run, walk, run methodology. So you run a little bit, walk a bit, run a bit. So he was on our podcast.
Nice.
Eliud Kipchoge. Is he a runner or is he a gunner? I've only got 2 more of these, don't worry. This is the second to last one. Eliud Kipchoge.
I'm going to say runner. Wasn't he in the Olympics this year?
So he is a runner. He is a runner.
I like that.
And he's the guy that I mentioned earlier who ran an unofficial sub 2-hour
Yeah,
marathon.
it's just under. Yeah.
So he just ran in Berlin. It was unofficial because he had people around him to stop the wind and things like that. So it was on a predetermined track and all the sorts. They made loads of different. There's quite a good documentary on it if you're interested. Go and find it. It's quite good. And the last one, Terry Henry. Terry Henry. Is he a gunner or a runner?
Can we clarify the spelling?
So I'm just saying, Terry Henry. Is he a gunner or is he a runner?
Oh man, Terry Henry's a runner.
Yes, he is. He played for Arsenal as well at the same time.
Is it that one?
It is that one. So, Thierry Henry, greatest ever Arsenal player, 175 goals in 258 appearances. You've done well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 12. Not bad. Not bad. The only ones that you got wrong was Victoria Palova, which you said you knew about, and Stefan Malz. So you did well. Congratulations.
Which you said you knew about. I let you down, mate. I let you down. I'm sorry.
Congratulations. You win absolutely nothing, but you've done well.
Come on.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, exactly. Very well done. Okay. It took me all of 10 minutes to do this afternoon at work.
Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight.
It's been good. I enjoyed it
so much.
It's been absolutely brilliant fun. I will unfortunately do the bleep test in the next week or 2. You have my word. I've said it live on air as well. We will post that. I'll send it across so you can take the piss out of me as well.
Get it.
Before we post it on socials. But yeah, honestly, want to have just a huge thank you. All the listeners, make sure you check out their podcast as well. The link's going to be in the description for you, so make sure you listen. And yeah, thank you very much.
And we are going to get you both on our podcast as well. So we're going to get you on. We can talk about the bleep test. You can talk about your football as well and how that's increased your fitness. So we'll do that in the future. We'll organise a time. Probably in 12 months' time like we did last time. It's taken that long to do this one. So
look forward to it.
Sounds
Thank you.
Right.
Brilliant.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Thank you.